Cool. Back with another episode of Charlotte on the Scene podcast. My main man Morrow's on vacation. He's not here right now, so we had to bring the other guy back. Cousin L's in the building. How you doing, Cousin L?
Hey, I'm back, baby. I'm back. What's going on, Charlotte? I'm back, baby. I'm happy to be here. What's going on?
How you doing, man?
Oh, man. I heard about what happened in Martha's Vineyard with you, bro. Fell off that bike. I heard about that.
What? Okay, this is why I want in here. But I'm gonna let that one go. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I'm happy to see you good here in the health. How you doing?
Good, bro.
Very good. All right.
Fresh off the road, man.
You fresh off the road?
Yeah.
Still spilling my business as usual. So anyway, we have a guest today right now. I want to start off by introducing special guest that we have on the podcast today. His name is Brother Ron Tate. How you doing, brother? It's good to see you.
I'm always good to see you, sir.
Oh my God.
Thank you for having me.
Always. It was a blessing to have you on here, brother. Been trying to get you on here for the longest. Ron's a busy man. I gotta run him down. He be everywhere. He be the Jay-Z concert. He be in France. He be back, peeled back. He takes his son Ali everywhere. As you know, great father, great human being as well. Known him for a lot of years. And it took me a long time to be cool with him because Ron don't play. So it's good to have the brother on the podcast, man. It's good to see you, brother.
Hey, good to see you. Thanks.
So let me start off right now first. You was at the Jay-Z concert. How was that?
Yeah, Jay-Z was amazing. I went the first night, and we actually had really good seats. We were on the very top row, but front row of the bleachers.
Okay,
right in front of the stage.
Nice.
It was really about the Jumbotron. And I found it was good value.
No doubt.
But Reasonable Doubt was one of my favorite Jay-Z albums, and he pretty much just walked right through it. But it was really smart how he brought in other records. He brought Nas on, and brought some of Nas's stuff.
Yeah.
Probably the highlight was when he did Can't Knock the Hustle, and my son came with me. He was sitting there, and we see this woman in the background. We're like, "Oh, Mary J. Blige is here. Mary J. Blige is here."
Right.
She started walking out. We're like, "Wait a minute, that's Beyonce."
Right.
So Beyonce was the only person that would have been a better person to come out than
So Beyonce sang the Can't Knock the Hustle.
Yeah, she sure did.
Oh, wow.
On Friday night.
Wow, that's yeah. Wow.
So
wow.
So she did her thing. Again, Nas with the Mets. Daryl Strawberry. That was definitely.
I saw a video of them going back and forth on their own beats.
Absolutely.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
crazy. That's crazy.
That was real crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy. That was an experience that you can never match. And I told myself this is why, because my money couldn't afford to go. I just got back from the vacation. To be honest, I mean, my daughters wanted to go to Fat Ronnie's every night. It was costing me a lot of money, but to be able to have that experience, I've seen Jay-Z a lot of times. I saw Jay-Z before Reasonable Doubt dropped in Sayreville, New Jersey, when I was younger, and I saw him when I was at Morgan my freshman year. And I had to tell myself, I see him too many times. And then watching the clips over and over again and seeing the concert, I missed out because it was an experience. Even the last night I heard when he came out late because of the security breach, they say he still did like 3 or 4 hours.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's insane, man. Did you go by yourself or?
No, my son went with me. He didn't know that much about Jay-Z. He knew some of the Alicia Keys who came out.
Nice.
He was really into that. But we did a little bit of homework. Went through Reasonable Doubt.
No doubt.
And he's really got a good ear for music. And he likes to dig deep. So since we've been back, he's been running Reasonable Doubt Blueprint, and he's going to go further Jay-Z's catalog. So it's something I think he'll always remember. I like. We were kids. Just imagine going to see a Michael Jackson,
right?
DMC. It's something that always impacts you.
Chip off the old block.
That's it.
So let's dive into it, Ron. I got it. There's a lot to unpack, and we got a certain amount of time, and and you've done a lot. Period. In this city, outside the city, everywhere else. So want to get. Where are you from originally?
Well, I was born in Chicago. I lived there for just a short period of time. My dad had a corporate job and was always moving around. So from Chicago, I moved to New Jersey at a young age. lived in Westfield, which is close to New York City. Yeah. You know about Westfield?
I'm from Plainfield, so we played y'all all the time. Thanksgiving games, we always won.
Yeah, y'all was our rival.
That's right.
So that Thanksgiving game was something that was always something we look forward to.
Wow, that's dope.
Yeah. So I left Westfield in 10th grade. My dad got transferred to Atlanta.
Okay.
And I was so excited. I'd been in Westfield, which is, small Black population. I said, Father, we're moving to Atlanta. I'm going to be into a more diverse area.
Right.
We moved to Roswell, Georgia, which you guys probably heard of.
I've heard of Roswell.
But at the time, Roswell was, not that diverse. I think my high school was about 2% Black.
Okay.
So, I didn't have the Atlanta experience I thought I would have initially.
Okay. Yeah, that's so it's crazy. Like, 'cause my mom moved me to Hightstown, New Jersey. When I was in, when I was living from Queens or whatever, and my cousin's from Plainfield. But Jersey has it's like is very different in Jersey. So like you living in Jersey, I never knew you lived in Jersey. So because my mom was going to move to Burlington, New Jersey first, and then she moved to Hightstown. She settled in Hightstown. But there's different pockets of prominent Black areas in New Jersey. Oh yeah. So it's a switch from going to a area of like that and then moving to Roswell, Georgia. How did you adjust?
It was not dissimilar to my schools in Jersey. And I was involved in sports. I was involved in student council. So it was a pretty easy transition. Awesome.
Born leader, as always. Yeah. So after that, you went and matriculated off to college. Now, where'd you go to college at?
Well, my freshman year, a lot of people don't know I went to Vanderbilt University.
Oh, wow.
I had a Navy ROTC scholarship, and I was gassed up on Top Gun, wanted to wear the white suit. So they got me out there in that swimming pool and asked me to float for 5 minutes. And I figured out the Navy was not for me.
Yeah, that wasn't
and Vanderbilt was fun, but didn't do that well. And one of the best blessings of my life is my dad said, "Okay, you can transfer, but the only college I'll pay for is Morehouse College." And I was even still a little resistant. I wanted to stay at Vanderbilt, but as I went to Morehouse, I realized what a blessing it was. My dad knew that would be the right place for me, and that that was a great opportunity.
Well, it's different. You're going to a traditional PWI to a HBCU. It's an adjustment. A lot of people know I went to Mercer County before I went to Morgan for a year. I had to matriculate into Morgan. So it's different. It's a different adjustment. But so you're at Morehouse. How'd you enjoy that?
Morehouse was a great experience. There were a lot of guys like me, guys from big high schools, white high schools in a lot of cases, but also a lot of guys from urban high schools.
Gotcha.
So I think about my dorm. There were guys from South Central LA, guys from Chicago, guys from Detroit, but had everything from private schools to real urban schools. So, but the thing that was beautiful is how we all came together. And I spent so many nights.
Yes.
That freshman year, we were up in one room that might have had a TV, watching Morton Downey Jr.
Morton Downey Jr. I remember Morton Downey Jr. That's crazy.
having ignorant arguments, back and forth. But you really got to know each other and build a great camaraderie. And it was the best place for me.
Now it's funny because and I want to ask you this question too, but you probably already answered it. It's like when you go to HBCU, you don't get to see a lot of African Americans that are in that light. Like you see what your neighborhood is, and especially if you're from the inner city, but you don't get to see. Like I remember when I was at Morgan, I remember this dude named Izzy. I don't know where he's at right now, but he was a nuclear physicist wearing a do-rag and a Yankees fitted. And he smoked weed. Wow. He smoked blunts, okay, and he drank 40s. Yeah. But I remember I did a symposium because I was computer science. I did a symposium one year for NASA, and he actually was the keynote speaker.
Wow. And
to see him to be able to be just chill, you know what I'm saying? Like just like a dude you see on the block, but then still go into a room and command a room, but talk at a high level. That's what makes HBCUs worth everything in the world.
Yeah.
What besides your pops, what made you choose HBCU? Was it just your father saying I wasn't pay for this? Because my mom said the same thing about my major.
Yeah.
My mom said I couldn't choose. I'm not paying for anything unless it's computer science, lawyer, or doctor.
Yeah.
And I want to be a history teacher.
Yeah.
And I have 4 girls. I probably would have been in trouble. So
yeah.
So talk to you about that.
Yeah, I mean, I was probably brainwashed. I thought that the white man's ice was colder. And coming up in a white
We're
school,
gonna clip that one.
you see things through the eyes of your peers, and my peers there. I didn't. I thought that a PWI was the best place for me. But as my parents saw, that. Identity was such a key part of, I was doing, my potential, they made that call. And it didn't take me long to realize it was the place for me. Again, my best friends, my son's godfathers, all 3 were on my freshman dorm. My first wife was a Spelman woman that I met, freshman week at Six Flags, and we just had a great experience. It was a great time to be in Atlanta. You could soak up the Georgia Tech, the Georgia State, Atlanta. I remember we were underground Atlanta when they announced Atlanta to get the '96 Olympics, and we were there about 4 or 5 in the morning, and we really realized, wow, this city is about to explode. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened.
What's it like? Can you give me your best night in Atlanta back then?
Wow. That's okay, so
or best weekend.
So I think when I got to maybe my second year, I had a roommate, Keith Watson. Shout out to Keith. He's in Houston, and Keith was more advanced and had a car. We used to go out to the nightclub.
Okay.
And so the nightclub in Atlanta was Atlanta Nights. And that Atlanta Nights became Dominique's downtown. It became Dion's. I mean, there were so many clubs in Atlanta that were athletes. And so on this Wicked Wednesdays, we weren't old enough, but we knew if we went there early that we'd be good. So we got out there about 6:30. And we'd be up in the club. We might have, $30 or something to get us a couple drinks, talk to some girls, maybe buy them one. And we stayed there and closed it down until 2, 3 a.m.
Wow.
So we really, in addition to the campus life, I would say we probably soaked up more of the Atlanta lifestyle. And there was so much to do. And, really some amazing memories.
Sounds fun. Cousin, you ever been to Atlanta?
Yeah, I've been to Atlanta, and that sounds like about every night of my damn life. I'm just being honest. Well, I mean, Atlanta's amazing. I mean, what's the difference, though, of Atlanta then and Atlanta now?
Well, that's a great question. The people that were coming to Atlanta when I came there were people that, saw the growth potential. First, they saw the history of Atlanta. Think about some of my classmates. I had a really interesting group of classmates. Reverend Jamal Bryant, who you guys know.
Jamal Bryant, Baltimore alumni. Fellow frat.
Eddie Glaude, who's a very involved professor. Also, Senator Warnock was a year ahead of me, Raphael Warnock.
So guess what? I'm gonna let you talk, but I was just when I was in the vineyard just now this last week, I was jogging on the coast, and I had my Kappa shirt on. I jogged past this dude. He threw up his sign. It was Raphael Warnock.
Is that right?
He's out there for the whole summer. Yeah. He actually does. He actually preaches in the church in the community center right where the African Heritage Trail is. Yeah, he's there for the whole summer. Yeah, so but I had to give you that tip again.
Morehouse has such a rich tradition of pastors, and he was, he did all the things that he could do there to kind of build that career. Ended up at Ebenezer, getting his PhD, and now U.S. Senator. We never knew that.
Never knew that would happen. It's beautiful, isn't it?
Yep.
So it's I know I have one friend, shout out to Mark Fisher. He actually went to Morehouse, and his brother was Charles Fisher. We call him Chuck in Jersey. But there was is there ever a book or how to be a Morehouse man?
Well, that's a great question. I don't know if there probably is a book now, but when I was there, they had a kind of freshman week where they kind of hazed you. And one night they'd get you up in the middle of the night, you'd run all around the AUC, Atlanta University Center, and you would sing songs, and they brought us into the gym. And some of the seniors would talk to us and kind of give you that indoctrination.
Okay.
And they would say things like, when a Morehouse man wears a white shirt, it's a white shirt. When a Morehouse man he always carries a pen, especially when he goes to Spelman.
Right.
And the most important thing,
Mhm.
a Morehouse man never, ever, ever wears a Jerry curl. So the funny thing about that, of several hundred guys in the room, there were probably about 3 guys in the freshman class that had Jerry curls.
Right.
And so we were like, ooh, everybody's looking over at them, and they're kind of like, okay. And so the next day, I think 2 of them had it cut down to a fade. They took that message. But there was one brother that was from, I think it was from LA, and he went by the nickname T. But he went slow. He had a drippy Jerry curl. First move was the curl box. The curl. So he stayed on the sides, and it was a box. And then a couple weeks later, he cut that box down to just a curl with on top, and eventually went to a fade. So he said, "I'm not just gonna just change just like that," but he did.
That's hilarious. Shout out to my man Chauncey Chester. Chester went to Morehouse too. That's my dude. That's my homeboy. I remember one time. So I tell you, I have an S curl story. I wanted to, I don't know if you remember when Mike Tyson had the fade, and but it was curly. So I had a fade, but I put the Duke on my hair, so I was spraying the Duke. I didn't know the Duke runs. The shit starts running down your joint. You can't stop it because it just runs down. So I'm sitting there, I'm watching the Duke run down, and I'm dapping, right. But then I went to the barbershop in Queens to get a cut. Dude, Shamik was cutting my hair, and the clippers kept slipping, so he couldn't get the fade right. Man, he was so hot at me. He was like, "Man, don't ever come in here with that crap." But you know, back then it was an aisle in the grocery store. If you go into the aisle, it'd be Jerry? Was it a free curl? The yellow Jerry curl juice, and then it'd be Duke. But the dude with the Duke flat top looked so fly. But they never told me it was that hard to keep that Jerry curl in there, son. It's probably why I had them.
Rob, and listen, we all grew up together and anything like that, but I didn't have them problems, brother.
You still got a ponytail.
I mean, why you going? Hey, the camera don't see it. Why you got to do me like that?
You still got a ponytail right now.
Hey, listen,
you look like Errol Spence right now.
Hey, listen, we ain't gonna do all this right now. We're trying to be professional tonight, man. Why? Why are we gonna do that right now?
The Prince's luck. Don't cut off the Prince's luck.
Hey, man.
So Ron, so you're at Morehouse. You have to graduate. What is the first job you were looking at, or first internship that you were looking at, and how'd you go? It's a great question. I was pre-law. I thought I was going to law school, took the LSAT, had good scores on the LSAT, but I realized I wasn't really crazy about reading, and I always do my research, and I also found at the time that, they were anticipating that there were a glut of lawyers, and I could, see that, okay, me not liking reading, spend a lot of money and then don't end up with a job. That's not good. So while I was at Morehouse, my dad had retired from corporate and went down to teach at Florida A&M, where he's an alum of. And so, I remember he told me, he said, "Hey, son, if nothing else, you can come down here to FAMU. You can get your MBA. I'm on faculty, so you can go for free. And I guarantee you're going to get a great job. We'll put some polish on you. You'll be set." And again, he was right. Went down to Tallahassee. I had to do a bunch of prerequisites because I was poli-sci major, but FAMU was like a second undergrad experience. Wow. It was a little bit more remote, than Atlanta. So yeah, Tallahassee's different.
Yeah, but as I find, the more remote the school is, the more fun it is. So.
You got Florida State out there. Florida State's right near there. Yeah. And don't they have like a little Tallahassee, the little FMU rattlesnake dance the women do? I saw that they be doing this dance. I don't know. What's that about?
I don't know about that.
I saw it. I saw it in a video. And I have some relatives that went to FAMU. Yeah. Because that's my fraternity wise. That's Alpha Z, for the frat. So I have a lot of people that went there. A lot of family members that went there. But I saw a couple of women doing this rattlesnake dance because their emblem is the rattlesnakes. Yep. And it's actually, I heard their homecoming is off the hook.
It is. FAMU had a big football, in the MEAC at the time. And then the other thing that was unique about FAM, I was at school of business, and they had amazing internships. Nice. So one of the ways that you would bond is you would go on internships and you'd have other classmates with you. You go on expense account, live in New York. I had one intern in Philly. I had a company car, a really nice apartment, 18th of Spring Garden. Oh, nice. And just the things that you're exposed to are really amazing. And then, as you travel and every city you got, some family student you can reach out to.
Yeah.
And, at the end of that all day, at the end of my time there, I had a job offer from Procter & Gamble, which was kind of like the company I really wanted to go to. And again, I had to give my dad the credit of, him seeing the vision of, me coming to FAMU, coming out there gratefully with no debt, having a great experience and a great job.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And a lot of that's awesome here, because a lot of brothers or strong Black men, it's good to hear that a father was there for you at the time to really be there for you and help guide you.
Okay.
What was it like? I guess having that tutelage.
Yeah,
if that's the right word.
It's like a lot of times you appreciate it more over time. At the time, it was frustrating. I wanted to have more freedom. I was living at the house. For time, I didn't have a car. So I was a college graduate and riding with my dad to school, and then even have to wait around for him after class sometimes.
Oh man,
and so. So that frustrated me, and even living at home, there were some limits to what I could do. Probably good and was respectful of the house, of my mom's house, my dad's house, but again, it was a great deal. And had plenty of fun and had that comfort of being home, but also the college environment and again the internships that got me outside of town.
Let
me ask you a question. Was there ever a fork in the road where you could have went left or right, and right means the path you went right now, or that left is the dark side? Was it a point in your life that did you ever hit that back then?
That's a great question. And I think that the time at Vanderbilt was probably a fork in the road, because again, I was so focused on achieving at this large well-respected PWI, but I think that my identity suffered, trying to be accepted, trying to prove that I was as good as, and I think that what my mom and dad saw was, hey, you gotta love who you are. Don't look for this self-validation in people who, may or may not be really concerned about you. Yeah. So, I think that decision, although I was never, really, headed, in the wrong way per se. My grades were not good, and probably my, my self-esteem was, maybe not where it needed to be. Right. But
it didn't get dark.
No. I didn't get dark.
Just a little bit of.
They kept me in the fairway.
A little 35-cent tent right there.
That's it.
All right, that's what's up.
So all right. So let's fast forward. So you're done with FAMU. Did you go back to Atlanta, or did you?
No, I took a job at Procter & Gamble. I had several job offers. I could have gone out to LA, could have gone to St. Louis, but P&G in Cincinnati had a great reputation for training, and also two guys that I was friends with were in the same function. I went into purchasing, and when they came down to campus, recruited me, I knew that they would be Ready Set group to hang out there. There were a bunch of other rappers in town, and my mom is from Cincinnati, so
nice.
My grandmother was there. 3 of my aunts and cousins were there, so there was a lot there to kind of keep me there. Amazing experience. I learned a lot. The talent again at P&G that came in there is amazing people that are CEOs now, running companies, entrepreneurs. But Cincinnati was not the most exciting place to be.
Okay.
They did have a lot of cities around, so we were always in Chicago, Indianapolis, Columbus, Cleveland, Louisville.
Dayton.
There you go.
Dayton, you know what I mean? I used to get it in Ohio, so.
Ultimately, it was, and a lot of people come through Cincinnati and move out, and I got a call to come to Delta Airlines, which was putting together my function, and it was back in Atlanta, and it was just the right place for me to really improve my social life, but also go to an exciting industry, working for airlines.
Okay, so let's fast forward from that. So let's touch on this. So you're a single dad.
Not yet. Oh, but now I am. Yeah.
Yeah. No. I'm skipping.
Okay.
I'm moving. I'm moving.
Yep.
So you have a son.
Yep.
Can you describe that situation, how that happened, and everything else?
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I was married, once, married for 7 years when I first came to Charlotte. Very wonderful.
No, I'm joking. I gotta touch it.
A wonderful woman, Spelman woman. She's a doctor.
Nice.
And we had 7 years together, but we decided to go our separate ways. But,
right.
I got nothing but love for her.
Definitely.
But after that time in Charlotte, being married, I kind of got to see Charlotte as a single guy, and that was interesting. Coming out of being a married guy.
He's gonna touch on that. I already know, but go ahead.
It seems like the spot can be hot because people see that you are open to being married.
Yeah.
Again, my wife was a quality woman, so it was a lot. It was a lot going on. But I did realize that at some point I wanted to have a family, but I didn't necessarily want to get married. And I met my son's mom, and again, when I met her, I said, she was the most impressive person I ever met.
Wow.
Like they say in baseball, 5-tool player.
Yeah.
She had smart, she had beauty, really everything going for her. Good heart, and we dated, and we ended up having Oliver, and one of the things that was interesting is we were not in the same home, and she felt very strongly that he should be in one place, that he should not move around. A lot of times you have that kind of 1 week.
Yeah.
And her being a child psychiatrist said, hey, it's important that he stays where he is. And I wanted to fight back on it. I wanted to go to the court and get my. I thought about it. I said, this is not a bad deal. I saw him, took him to school every day. On the weekends we hung out, and I take him home at 7:00, and I got to go home and do what I wanted to do. So I got the benefit of build a relationship with him. But still kind of, having some of the freedom of a single person. And, the funny thing is, years later, once, he was, we went to visit his grandparents, and as they pulled up, he was like, oh, grandpa, you guys live in the same house. He was so normalized that dad and mom lived in different houses. That was the way that it went.
Yeah. It's I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Listen. I gotta go back. I gotta backpedal a little bit.
Okay.
That's single life a little bit in Charlotte. That moment.
Yeah.
Just give us a little piece of what it was about. It's a little taste. You're not go crazy.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that created was me, starting to do events. So, one of the things I missed on Sundays after I got divorced was Sundays. Sunday was always a family day. We would, cook dinner. So, I looked to fill that gap. So, I started inviting folks over on Sundays with a potluck dinner.
Oh, wow.
And I called it Second Sunday Supper Club. And I invited the people that I knew, which was, some folks that I'd known before and some new folks. And, I did it several times. We started to have contests, men versus women cooking. And I'd hand out awards for the,
I missed that whole run. Dang! Oh, man! And, what year was this, man?
He was talking about a potluck. You're talking about a potluck.
No. I'm listening to the whole thing. I'm just fantasizing like you just go. Continue.
Okay. And so after one of the events, two of which became my business partners, Terry Harris Rivera, and Rashika Barrow.
Yep.
I had known Terry from FAMU and had just met Rashika. She's like, wow, y'all, you know a lot of people. Have you ever thought about throwing parties? And I said, I used to do, a little bit back in the day, but, I would consider it. They said, oh yeah, we should do it. Charlotte is, doesn't really have something that we're looking for. We found that there was the, kind of uptight, corporate scene, and there was kind of the local scene, but there was not that, that kind of mix. And we said, okay, let's do something. And I said, y'all come back next Sunday, and we'll work it out. And so I had gotten out this something on the internet around how to create a brand. And, we started talking about what words we wanted to equate with our brand, and we talked about swagger, and we're like, oh, that's kind of played out. And as we're looking at synonyms, we said Moxie. I'm like, oh wow, we like that. That was a new word, and then we said, okay, we want this to represent the people that are part of our group.
Yes.
And so we said society. Society sounds fancy, and there was Moxie Society, and then we came up with the tag word, the only way to live. And the rest was history. We came up, we got someone to do a logo. Probably within a month, we had a house party. Terry had bought a house down in Waxhaw that was really big. And we just invited everybody on our email list.
Nice.
200 people.
Wow.
We got it catered. And we didn't even have a DJ. We had a playlist. That's what's up. But we took pictures, and it gave us something to
work off of.
To put on social media.
What year was this?
That was in 2012.
It wasn't that far.
Yeah.
Rod, you down here still?
Yeah, I wasn't down here for the original Moxie, but I was down here for all the Moxie Society parties. so the majority of them when it went to a different. That's my next question. That's my next segue. After that house party, where did you go from there? What venues did you guys start at?
Yeah. Well, I always had an idea of looking at at DC or Atlanta or New York and saying, what ideas can we import from those cities, which are a little bit more advanced. And one of the things that I always enjoyed when I went to DC or New York was these festive brunches. And those would be on the weekends or just kind of day parties. And Sunday at the time was in Charlotte was like a day that people didn't really do too much. And so we said, let's have a Sunday day party. Actually, Atlanta, Jay Carter, who you guys probably know, had this Sunday day party, which we kind of loosely were inspired by, and we called it Moxie Sundays. So we were out at the Music Factory. I can't even remember the name of the place, but it's a Mexican place now. But and we had a Sunday day party. Our first party we called DJ Vince Adams from Chicago, who was our classmate from FAMU, and we had a great turnout. People dressed up, all the pictures, and kind of the Sophista Ratchet, the early phases.
Sophista Ratchet, I love that. Gotta clip that one, Q. Sophista Ratchet. I love that one. I'm gonna use that.
It was the early phase of these successful corporate women. They would come out dressed up, and they really wanted to have a good time, and they wanted to hear all the trap music, and we really hit on a note there of bringing people in a safe environment, but kind of letting their hair down.
It was I remember I went to the first early Moxie parties. That's how we linked up as far as when I was doing, whatever, my thing or whatever with Antoine. But I remember going and always remembering how classy the party was, how classy the women were. The guys looked great. It was always like an upstanding crowd, and it was a great environment. Yeah. Always looked up to you as a. I don't like calling you us promoters. I like more so as a purveyor of people, bringing great events. I hate the word promoter because I don't think we're promoters. I think we're more so as people that just bring people together for great events, and we're energy. I remember a time, so I want to touch on this. You know what I mean? And we're gonna get because I want people to understand the venues you did. But I know the first time I did an event with you, and I had to get this out, was at Sports One.
Okay.
And so people don't understand what we were up against. So it was Herb Gray, it was Posh, it was me and Antoine, and it was Moxie. It was Moxie Society. I think it was Ron was by himself at the time. It was just Ron. Ron took the name and left everything out. I mean, everybody had moved. I think they had moved, and moved on. So we were at Sports One, and the Bootsy concert, they used to have the tent across the street. So we were like, we don't know how we gonna make money against Bootsy because like it was just crazy, right? We're not gonna get this off. Man, do you know? So I guess something happened with that tent across the street. Man, everybody started coming to. Man, we made so much bread. Now I'm gonna tell you something. We made a lot of money that night. The problem was I was hating on the low because Herb is by himself, Ron is by himself. So me and Ant got split the money. So I'm walking off, and we started charging at the door. It got so bad. I think forgive me. bigger women. I love all my women, but like this one girl, I got so nice at the door. I did the Ray Charles on this chick. You know what I mean? Because she's like, "Can I get it?" I was like, I closed my eyes. That's how good we was. That's how good we was feeling that day. That's how good we was. It was a great night. That's how I met y'all. That's how I met y'all. Ron walks off. Herb walks off with a bag. And me and Ed walked off with a bag, but it wasn't the bag that they walked off with. So Ron went to. I remember Ron going to the bar and getting his payout, and he was like, "Oh, this is." I forgot what you said. You said something like, "This is a good bag to do this anytime I want." I'm looking at him, I'm like, "Yo, how much did he get?
Right.
How much did he get? Where's my cut?" You know what I'm saying? But it was the first time I did a joint venture with Ron and Herb, and it was an introduction of us doing stuff later on. But it was a good time, man. It was vibes. Wow. You've done so much in Charlotte, people don't know. Can you name the venues?
Sure.
That you've actually done?
So we talked about that Moxie Sundays. We had that at several places, but again, mostly at the Music Factory. One of the next events we did was FaceTime Friday. That was the early phases of the internet. Again, we wanted to have something where people were really talking to each other. Right. And we did that at Canvas, which was at the time
Canvas was nice. Yes.
It was an art gallery, a very small bar, and very classy place. Again, most of these were free, and we just were getting a piece of the bar because we knew that Charlotte was still a little bit sleepy and that we needed to get people out. And one of the opportunities after Canvas I got, actually, Clyde Thomas, who worked with Peter at the time. Shout out to Clyde. He said, "Ron, you need to do something at Sports One." Sports One had opened up. And, being a sports bar, you think that Saturday is a big day, right? College football. But, for that, we weren't really watching college football like that. So I said, "Hey, let's do a brunch." And one of the things I did, I kind of crowdsourced the name. I knew that a music theme might work. So I went on my Facebook group, and I also actually talked to Carlo. I said, "Carlo, what's your target group?"
Shout out to Carlo Wilkes.
Yep. He said, "Ron, we're looking for women, 30 and up, as our key segment, or people 30 and up." And so I went on to Facebook and I said, "Hey, to my 30 somethings, tell me, what music genre do you most connect to?" And some people would say, "Oh, I like, No Limit, or I like Motown, or I like 80s soul." But more than anything else was 90s, yeah. And one person actually even put a meme or a sticker down there that said, "I love 90s." I'm like, that's it.
I love 90s.
And so that had already been done through MTV and other things. And so our first brunch was called, I Love the 90s. Yes. And then I called it I Love the 90s 2, and then 3. I said, I can't keep adding these up. And I said, you know what? Let's make it natural. You know what? I still love the 90s. And that's how we came up with the name. Patrice Johnson, shout out to Patrice. She came up with my logo, which was still hitting today. Actually, I wore that to the Jay-Z concert, and so many people stopped me.
Wow.
With that, I still love it.
Wow. Because you had it in Atlanta too. You had the brunch in Atlanta too. It wasn't just Charlotte. It was in Atlanta too.
So that was a successful event. There was times that I wanted to quit because sometimes people didn't come, but we, again, persistence. And, I was so proud of that event. That became something like it was a destination event where if people had folks in town, they knew they could take them on Saturdays to Sports One, and we'd have a DJ. We had live artists. Yes. It was a good group of people. And the other thing that we did is we made it every week. Yes, at the time we started, you would have an event, and if you did it more than once a month, people were like, "Are you sure that's not too much?" Charlotte had like a less than mentality. And Peter was like, you need to do it every week. People just know it's there. And I said, you're right. I mean, it's just eating, right? People eat every day. We can do better than Cracker Barrel.
And I want to give him his props too. And I want to tell you, like, I didn't interrupt, but like, we got to say this. I think it's important. Shout out to Peter Thomas. Peter Thomas gave a lot of people chances when he moved to Charlotte. Opened up a lot. Some people are kind of, whatever. For me, he helped build me up in the nightlife. Helped build Ron up all together. We all benefited off when he was here.
Oh yeah.
And so it definitely was a good time when he was here, when I was here.
Yeah.
And I definitely want to give him his props, and everything.
Yeah. I mean, in addition to really having a great menu, having a good staff, good food. I mean, if the food's not good, it doesn't work. And then bringing that energy in there. I remember one game was the ACC championship. And we did a Miami University party. And we had James in there. We had Luke.
Luke came.
We had Candy and Todd. A bunch of the old football players. So that also brought some excitement.
It did,
having them coming in and those photo ops and in little Charlotte. Felt like a little bit of Hollywood.
Yeah. And I still miss the salmon bites.
Oh yeah,
salmon bites is crazy.
Yeah. That people bit those salmon bites real hard.
Let me ask you a question. Not to cut you off on anything. Let me ask you a question. This is a 2-part question. Right?
Sure.
I had about close to 10 friends that came from Jersey to visit me since I've been here. I've been here a little over 2 years.
Sure.
And they ready to pack their bags and come on out here. I'm like, ho, too crowded, right? I know Charlotte, y'all don't. Hey, it's crowded. Don't send your little boys or friends, homegirls.
Yeah.
But you was in Atlanta as well.
Yeah.
And it's starting to remind me in the late 90s when everybody left Jersey and New York to go to Atlanta. But what's the difference in the two?
Well, I'll say what's similar. It's southern cities. There are cities with a lot of HBCUs or states with a lot of HBCUs. So as a result, you got a nice professional class. And what's the biggest similarity I see was Freaknik and CIAA. Because those were two big, huge events that brought people, in the case of Freaknik, from all over the country.
Right, correct.
They saw Atlanta for the first time and they said, "Oh my goodness, I'm moving here."
You come
right.
And to the same way, CIAA, maybe on a regional basis, it brought brothers and sisters from South Carolina, Virginia.
I never made it. I never made one.
And they saw Charlotte and they saw the uptown and, Black people everywhere in the nicest places. And they said, man, I'm going to come to Charlotte.
Yeah.
So both benefited from those destination events, exploding the growth for Black people. What was different was, honestly, I'll say, economic inclusion. There was an executive at B of A, Milton Jones, who was, a legend. He's now chairman of 100 Black Men National, and he was from Atlanta. I said, Milton, what's going on with Charlotte? How come people say it's the next Atlanta, but it's not quite there? He said, Ron, it's because of the weak mayor system. And I said, what do you mean by that?
Talk to me.
He said, look into it.
Clip that cue. It's about to be crazy right now. Talk to me nice. What we doing right now?
So I looked into it and I said, wow. So Charlotte's had a lot of Black mayors, right? Atlanta has Black mayors, but the problem is where Atlanta mayors had the power of the purse. Maynard Jackson, who insisted that, if you don't do, he told the big banks that were working with the city, if you don't have, diverse suppliers, you're not going to do work with the city. And he controlled that. And he, used that same in building Hartsfield Airport, which had huge participation of African American businesses. And all of South Atlanta has grown from that. And, in Charlotte, while we could have a Black mayor, you've got the city council that is really calling the shots. And it's kind of composed in a way that they never allowed or supported minority inclusion to the way that Atlanta did. And so while you have, the nice photos of Charlotte of professionals, doctors, lawyers, corporate professionals there,
what's behind it?
You don't have the ownership that you have in Atlanta.
Well, see, you know what? So Hartsdale, I learned, was built off of the same thing, the problem you're talking about, because Hartsdale was supposed to originally be in Birmingham, Alabama.
Yep.
And they pitched it to Birmingham, Alabama, and Birmingham turned it down. And that's if you go, I mean, Alabama is it's a nice place to be. It's growing a little. It's not, but it could have been Atlanta. And because they turned down a major project, it went to Atlanta, and Hartsdale opened up Atlanta. And it's the thing what he's talking about. It's like you could sit here and have a figure that's African American, but is the foundation. Is the foundation.
No, to build on that, when Nations Bank became Bank of America,
remember that.
McCall, who was the CEO,
yes,
he knew that to get approved by all these states that needed to buy onto this merger, that he needed to have proof that they were supporting, diverse groups. And one of the first things he did is he appointed several, Black executives that worked for Bank of America to go out and start businesses. Some of them are still around in the community now.
So there's that, yeah.
I think what happened over time is as the business model of some of those businesses were not sustainable, as Bank of America acquired a bunch of companies and grew, those small businesses had a problem scaling, and over time, lost a lot of that business. Where in Atlanta, my feeling was you had more minority businesses that were really scaling and were operating themselves and really set up for success. And so, you kind of have an environment now where, I worked on the building of the Ritz-Carlton and the One Bank of America Center. We brought H.J. Russell from Atlanta to be the minority partner on that. They were really well established, but the local contracting community was very disappointed that that we didn't choose a local minority firm. But honestly, it was because Russell had really been challenged and really had the capabilities to self-perform and another level, which a lot of the minority firms at the time here didn't have.
Well, it's also too, like, I want to touch on this too. Like, this is, you're bringing up, so now you get into the meat. Pause. Like, you're getting into everything. What I want to say is too, like, as far as the real estate, as far as like, like Betty's Ford, a lot of those areas, like I moved out to Lake Norman now, but like when I drive by, I come down Betty's Ford, I come down a lot of places. These places are getting purchased now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's cheap real estate, and they're putting businesses on these cheap lots. I mean, but it's gonna grow up. It's gonna get more expensive to live there, and they're driving the people out.
Yeah.
What do you have to say about that? Like, what's your opinion? Because I'm be honest with you. So I just got back from Martha's Vineyard, and I'm very angry about this, and I want to get this out. And I'm gonna touch it. And this is your time. I just want to say this though. This is because it's going on in a lot of cities. I was in Martha's Vineyard this year. I've been going since I was a kid. I'm watching Oaks Bluff go through a transformation from not being how you say respectfully minority owned. Losing property. People are not buying property because it's too expensive. People are moving in, buying the property. And what happened is that, so when you rent these houses now, they charge so much to where you can't afford to stay there. And then when you are allowed to stay there, they make excuses as if you damaged the house, so they're not giving you a security deposit back. So it's taking away from the people that used to come there all the time. And this happens in every city. Every city. It can go, I think, it's happened in Brooklyn and New York. It's happened in Charlotte, because people go where they know where the money is. How do we counteract that? And I don't know, we don't have the answers to that, but like, what's your opinion on that? Because it happens, and even with these companies that are buying, it's acquisitions. I get it, you know what I'm saying? But how do you?
Well, I think that the local leadership needs to decide that it's not always about creating the most wealth or creating the most money. It seems like that is often, what's driving a lot of decisions. And, we have to make decisions that's better for the culture, better for people. I remember probably at one point when I was working at the bank, I was working with, college graduates and MBA business school graduates. There were business school graduates coming to Charlotte making six figures. They had a lot of student loans, and they might have to work a second job. And oh, by the way, they had to live, outside the city. So when you have an MBA making six figures and they still can't afford to live within the city, you got a real problem.
You got a real problem.
So I think that as a real estate owner, I've had my place, for most of the time I've been here. It's done great. But I think this is a city with so much financial savvy, financial acumen.
Definitely.
The city government is smart around partnering with, the best minds in the city to do planning. And so, they take best practices from all the cities, and they grow. And that's why the development has been, wonderful from
Crazy.
a, real estate investment. And now we have so many amenities that are coming. But, cost of living is a huge problem, and unless we find a way around that, we're going to lose a lot of the culture that Charlotte has, as far as participation of a lot of different cultures.
Cost of living and inflation. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
It's a little too fast.
Yeah.
A little too fast. No, I'm just, me coming down to Charlotte, I've seen a lot, but I'm on the road a lot. And I could tell that, some people complain about, oh, you're trying to make $1,000 rent. And I know, in Jersey, they paying, but for one bedroom, they're paying $2,500, $2,000, even $1,500. And it's, it's so, a lot of people are running down because New York has went into Jersey. Of course, everybody knows that. New York goes to Jersey, Jersey comes down to the South. And I'm just wondering, where do you see Charlotte in the next 10 years?
Yeah. I recently saw a piece of data, you guys may have seen it too, that compared Atlanta to Charlotte. Mm-hmm. And while the average income was higher in Atlanta, the net worth of Blacks in Charlotte was a lot bigger. It was about it was like 5x. Right. And that says a lot about the city. I think Charlotte is more of a family city. So you have people younger, that are getting married, buying a house, building wealth, and making mature decisions around
finances and things like that. Yeah.
Atlanta is more of a flash. It's more of a look at me, and they're spending more money. They're spending money every weekend in the nightlife. Again, it's a great experience, but they're staying single longer, and all those things, are some of the biggest contributors to net, to net worth. So I think that's great for Charlotte. People are starting to recognize that this is a place that you can come and really, even despite some of the challenges around business ownership, you can really create a nice family for yourself. I think that, in order to continue to attract people, there's got to be more entrepreneurship opportunities. As some of these corporate jobs are going to, dry up a little bit as AI comes in. Yeah, it's going to be more about entrepreneurship and having
be creative.
Yeah,
I think you gotta be creative.
Businesses.
Yeah, I was I equated to, like, and I was telling one of my somebody I work with or whatever, I was equated to more so of like, when the industrial age happened. Like you had back in World War II, World War I, if you ever go to war or whatever, you had people on the plants putting in the handwork, making sewing or making guns, whatever they had to do to manufacture cars, whatever. And then industrial age came where you had machines doing a lot of the work. So the workforce got cut. It really hurt Detroit a lot, wow. So it now, and a lot of people didn't adjust. And so, now with AI, if you don't adjust, you're going to lose out. There's no more jobs that have, very few jobs have pensions. I was with my cousin up in Vegas. My cousin, I'm gonna put his name out there. He know who he is though. Henry. He talking about you guys' pension coming. He don't care. Henry. But like he's like, I'm in corporate. I don't have a pension. And so, like just really like understanding where you have to adjust and have to actually be ready to maneuver is totally different from sitting here and being like, okay, well, I'm just going to watch time go by. I think this is one of the first ages that we have as people getting older, that if we don't adjust, we're stuck. We are really going to be stuck. And you have to you have to be open to learning new things, to retooling yourself so that you can take care of your family. It's very important that we do that, especially in African American culture. I wanted to ask you, it's a great interview, a lot of nuggets. You being, and I wanted to segue off this, you being a father, navigating corporate America. How do you do that? I know it's hard to. Not even hard, but like it's a challenge. I would think it's a challenge. Maybe it's not. But like, how do you navigate that?
Yeah, that's a great question. I didn't raise this, but my son's mother, she passed away when he was 4 years old of breast cancer.
Sorry to hear that.
That was quite a shock. I didn't ever expect. Again, remember I said that he was really spending the night with her most of the time, even though we had a great relationship. So, I'd say when she got sick, for in the hospital for 30 days before she passed, that was the first time he was really staying at my house.
Mm-hmm.
And so I remember we went to Maryland to bury her, and we were driving back, and just the feelings I had with this 4-year-old boy in the back of my seat, and he's gonna move into my house, and how am I gonna leave this kid? But I had a couple really great things to help me. Jeanette Carpe, rest in peace. She introduced me to Trilvia Greer, who I know who was able to be kind of a part-time nanny and pick up my son several days a week.
Shout out to Miss Trilvia. Shout out to Miss Trilvia.
But also, give that woman's touch that I couldn't replicate. But as the first couple years that it happened, it was very difficult. And I say when I write a book, this chapter is going to be baby fathers don't get FMLA. And what that meant was, I was in the midst of taking the son into my home. I was working for a company in Chicago. I won't say what they are, but because we were not married, I was not able to take FMLA, where reality was I had a son who was just lost his mom and was moving to his house, and I really could have used that time to transition, get my life together. Right. But honestly, it was difficult for me to manage all that. Yeah. And that job didn't go well, and I ended up leaving there. But leaving that job really gave me the impetus to really say, okay, what am I got to do to be successful? Right. So I really was able to come back to Charlotte, find a new job, and find one that allowed me to, be present as a father. And, again, with the help of, Miss Trilvia and other, my village, I really started to kind of get that routine around of parenting. And, he's a great kid. So, it wasn't that hard to kind of keep him on track. And people have a lot of empathy for you. So a lot of people in the school and the community look out for you. There's some difficult parts, right? As he got older and he's setting up these play dates, right? You're always with the moms out there. So making sure that, you're in the loop and your son gets invited. That took a while, but again, they were very kind. A lot of people really went the extra way to make sure that, Oliver was included and that I was in loop so that he wouldn't be lost out.
Well, Ron, I see you. I see you a lot. And your village has been my village as far as even with my babysitter, we share the same babysitter. When you don't know when things are going to be different as far as when you're a man and having kids. And it's a beautiful thing. I've watched you take your child to France, take your child everywhere. Your son Oliver is a very handsome, beautiful young child, and he's being schooled, and you give him everything. And I want to give you your props to you as a father for being there and doing what your father did for you. It's not easy. It's expected of us, and we should do it, but it's not easy. There's never no road that's going to be easy to that. I want to, we're short on time because there's so much to touch on with you. I think you stole Louis V from me. Okay. I want to get into that. Stole DJ Louis V from me. We had him first. Let's talk. Louis V, where you at? I'm on you. How'd you link up with Louis V? I had to get into that real quick for me. Oh yeah. Because your brunch was everything. Yeah. And I want to tell you, as a father, as a person in corporate, as everything that you embody, you are everything. You are a person that I look up to, that a lot of people look up to. You've done a lot, and the way you carry yourself, as I see you out, is of the utmost class. It's of the utmost class. You know what I'm saying? It's projected. You have you are the way you walk, the way you command the room, I've always looked up to, and I want to give you that as your flowers. You know what I'm saying? I've learned a lot from you just watching. So, but let's get back to how you stole Louis V from me.
Yeah, you know, I think I met Louis V at another kind of collaboration party. It might have been y'all's.
Yeah, no, I know it was.
Yeah,
talk to me nice.
In South Carolina.
Okay.
Your partner was from South Carolina.
Yeah.
And you know, from the minute that I met him, we immediately hit it off. I mean, he's just a likable guy and just really astute about, you know, relationships.
Yes.
And I want to say that he came and introduced himself, and he may have bought me a drink, you know, right off the bat. I've never had a DJ, you know, buy your drink. No offense, DJ.
Right.
But you know, we worked on that event, and you know, as it is, there was 4 or 5 DJs that everybody uses, and I started to use Louis V more. He started getting amazing feedback, and really became my go-to. And when I think about the brunch, the brightest moments of the brunch, it was DJ Louis V. We started to do a Sunday day party down there. Clarence had opened up the firehouse, and we started to sipping on Sundays, and that was really important because we had previously been doing some things at Bubble, and there was a bunch of promoters involved in that, and at some point I ended up not being out of that group, and so my feelings were hurt, and I talked to Louis V. He's like, we can do something better.
Right.
And again, the sipping on Sundays was something that was inspired by another city. Right. Clarence had just opened up the firehouse.
Shout out to Clarence.
We really created that Sunday day party that went hard.
Yeah.
And Louis V. Having a DJ as a partner makes so much sense. He can DJ, I can do the promotion, and we just split the money.
That's what's up.
And as that took us to Atlanta, as he went down there. We had a 2-year run at 90s brunch down there. I even went to Houston with him with Envy, and we did a 90s brunch as part of Envy's car show.
That's what's up.
He really
Shout
helped
DJ
me
Envy.
Take the brunch and spread the wings. And he was in New York for Jay-Z. He was on another level. You probably see him with Gayle King on Instagram, but he's always been the same. And he got to know my son. I call him Uncle V. He, for many of those nights, he would come to Charlotte, stay with me, and help me watch Oliver.
That's
and now Louis has his son, and it's great to see him growing up, and I want to support him the same way he has as a dad.
That's what's up. Shout out to Louis V, man, great DJ. I know, through Antoine, I met him and Puff. They were the ones that out there in South Carolina really holding it down, DJ Puff. So I just want to give you guys a shout out. I had to give Louis V his props.
Right. Before you wind up, I know we're down to like probably 30 seconds. But yeah, we probably 20 seconds.
Q's like 1 second. Tell him, Q.
Yeah, hold on. But 1 second though. But 1 second, right? For one, Antoine Morrow, you went Hollywood on us. That's for one. I had to get it out because I know the curtain's about to close. You went Hollywood on us. I seen all those clips with you over the NBA players. That's for one. We're gonna get on you when you get back. But what do you have for all the people that's coming down to Charlotte and the people that's here for as entrepreneurs? What would you tell them? Because some people are trying to start up and trying to figure it out and this and that. Like, you've been to Atlanta, you've seen it boom. So what? It's almost there. The seeds are planted. What is here for that?
One thing I said about Charlotte when I first came here, and I still feel it's the same today, is that it's a big city, but it's a small community. And I always felt like there was not anybody in this city that I could not reach out to. And so, but the reason that I could reach out to them is that I had an expertise. So I would say the first thing is, be really great at something. When that will encourage people to help you meet those movers and shakers because they know that you bring value. And once you start to make those connections and have the meeting before the meeting and you volunteer, the doors can open for you. So I would just say again, what is it that you do? Really understand what you do best, and then realize who are the people that can help you, and ask people to help you meet those. And again, spirit of networking. How can you help? But that's really been key for me, and I think that's what I would suggest for anybody.
Awesome. We're gonna wrap this up. I want to say thank you, Ron, for being on the platform. Absolutely. Appreciate you so much, and I definitely want to say thanks for assisting me and helping me out along the way through my journey in Charlotte, because you've always been a resource for me.
It's mutual. It was mutual.
Yeah. So definitely, brother. I thank you so much, man. This is a great interview, and I always, like I said, I always learn. I always pick the right people.
Absolutely. And listen, before we go, you have any one of them house parties? I was lost in the couch. I was fantasizing. Hey, call me. Call the L up, man.
I got you.
Please,
I got you.
Please. I got you.
All right, Charlotte, let's see you. It's a wrap.
That's right. Yeah, baby.
We'll get a picture out there. I'm going to the restroom real quick.
Oh, yeah. I'm about to beat you to the punch.
Now, you ain't beating me.